Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Sifati Fatayat. Our presentation about chapter 1 and chapter 2. And let's go. Okay, I will explain about the background. Teacher can also adapt the time maximally till 4 hours. There is so much time to prepare them to able to communicate using English. Having much time in terms of speaking, teachers should also be concerned about the micro skill. One of the micro skill is pronunciation. The aspect of pronunciation then can be tough consists not only the segmental features like how to pronounce vowels and consonants, but also the suprasegmental features such as rhythm and intonation. The teacher needs to realize how important pronunciation is. Students who cannot pronounce well cannot express what they intend to and may lose their confidence too. Realizing the importance of pronunciation, teachers should be able to convince students so that they have willingness to improve their English pronunciation. Their pronunciation teaching is not expected to get students to have native-like pronunciation, but the student can achieve at least the minimum requirement of good pronunciation. And identification of the problem. Based on the observation that was conducted on 19 September 2013, I found several problems. The problem related to the teacher, student, learning material and media, equipment and facilities. The number one is teacher. The teacher had tried out to implement a communicative activity in the classroom. However, he did not give students any perception first, so that students seem to be confused when doing the activity. And the number two is students. Students of the class had a lot of vocabulary in their mind since the teachers had given tasks to memorize the vocabulary and will test them once a week. The student also seems to be enthusiastic when the class and the survey game. However, when speaking activity was conducted, the students still found difficulty in pronouncing English words. On the number three, learning material and media. The teacher used a course book and mini dictionary to facilitate students in learning English. However, the mini dictionary did not contain phonetic and transcription. Purpose of the research. The purpose of the study was to improve the pronunciation class learning process and also improve student pronunciation skill in pronunciation class. The purpose of pronunciation learning is so that students are able to pronounce a word like native accent, but in simple terms so that students are able to pronounce words accurately enough so that bias is easier to understand by the interlocutor. Methodology. Pronunciation teaching method requires the attitude of the teacher to always update the condition of the latest method, because it is always experiencing the latest development, both in terms of development of how the documentation of the pronunciation method had been applied since a long time ago until it continues to change since by behaviorists toward situational cognitive, social, and the views of experts regarding current human cognitive abilities. For example, in Harvard method, which explain the inferred pronunciation teaching, there must be steps. Number one, determines content, and two, diagnosing student pronunciation, and three, defining content, and the last one, and combining all type of phonology abilities into listen unit. And the chapter 2, I will explain about the definition in here. So, Pronunciation involves far more than individual sound. Word stress, sentence stress, intonation, and word linking all influence the sound of spoken English. Not to mention the way we often slur word and phrase together in casual speech. What are you going to do becomes what are you gonna do. English pronunciation involves too many complexities for learners to strive for a complete elimination of accent. But improving pronunciation will boost self-esteem, facilitate communication, and possibility lead to a better job or at least more respect in the workplace. Students are the main component in determining learning outcomes because they are the subject of the learning activities. Student learning outcomes are largely determined by learning motivation, willingness to learn, activeness in the learning process, and the ability to reserve and process learning material. Thus, difference in student characteristics will accept different learning outcomes. Students with high learning motivation will try their best to achieve and desired learning outcomes. Purpose of teaching pronunciation. In learning English, what a wonderful memory that sticks out when we were kids. The child is going fast once caught what is heard, seen, and will be embedded in his subconscious. In time, the subconscious memory will reappear when there is the trigger. Knowledge and skill dispatch will be used as provision preparation for continuing education to a higher level. Young learners can be divided into two levels. First level is children aged 5 to 7 years, and level second is children age up to 10 years. Wendy Oscott and Lisbeth H. Yetriberg 2004 351. On process teaching and learning, teacher prepare theory, vocabulary, and teach students through example of pronouns word correctly, the question and answer. Grafberg W. 2019 to 1917. Pronunciation is the part the most difficult in learning English. Pronunciation can make mistake. The meaning of a sentence is different. Thus, teach common word can use to teach a vocabulary new. Such pronunciation names and match. Pronunciation is an important form of learning conducted in teaching English. Aspect of pronunciation. Pronunciation is the way in which a word or a language is spoken. This may refer to generally agreed upon sequence of sound used in speaking a given word or language in specific dialect. Correct pronunciation, or simply the way a particular individual speaks a word of language. A word can be spoken in different ways by various individuals or groups, depending on many factors such as the duration of the cultural exposure of their childhood, the location of their current residence, speech or voice disorders, and ethnic group and social class, or their education. Pronunciation skill is ability pronunciation. As one in English different from Indonesia, including pronunciation of vowels, consonant, and diphthong. The aspect is the pronunciation of skill are accuracy, fluency, intonation, and emphasis. Vocabulary English is a collection of words in Bahasa English, which has meaning. Vocabulary or vocabulary is a collection of words that are owned by language and given meaning to us use the language. Okay, this is the last presented about the chapter 1 and chapter 2. So thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.